Welcome to another episode of Motivational Sundays with Kevin and Friends. This show was originally created from the one of more than 300 motivational quotes I had created for the contents of my books. After studying for over 40 years of human behavior, I got together with my friends Naheem, Curtis, Gilda, Christopher, Dr. Breakthrough, Mrs. Blue, Otis is not here, the voice of the show, and Larnez. And we were always curious. We all had quotes we carried with us, whether it were just words that landed on a page or was it a conversation to be had. We meet every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Each week, one of the beautiful people on this platform, they bring a personal quote to them. And based on their interpretation and perspective, we talk about their quotes. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what Dr. Breakthrough has brought for me and you. Dr. Breakthrough, let's talk about this quote you brought to us. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm blessed and highly favored, just like each and every one of you on this amazing Sunday that I'm turning into a capital S, capital O, capital N day. So the quote, massive breakthroughs occur once we beat the bullies in our brain. And many of you know my story about being a 6-year-old boy, being beaten, tarred, and feathered by a teenage gang and all the bullying in my life. And because of that, I learned martial arts so I could defend myself. The crazy thing about that, as I got older, and I started realizing that those physical bullies weren't the ones that hurt me as much as my own mental bullies. So I was talking to my brother the other day. It's kind of strong language for some folks, simple for us to grow up in the hood. But I was like, man, we can't be mind punks. So we can't just give in to our brain. Got to learn to beat those bullies in the brain, like the bully of doubt, right? The bully of limiting beliefs. Matter of fact, for July, one of my acronyms is this: just unleash limitations and yield. Because my mind constantly wants to bully me with the excuses. Well, you grew up without a dad, you grew up in the hood, and you were sexually abused and physically abused, and every kind of you get. So no, because excuses, that's the currency with which I buy failure. Execution is the currency by which I buy success. And so I got to beat the bully, that bully that tries to say, here, you can use this excuse. And a lot of people would take them, but that excuse doesn't get me progress. And so it becomes a bully that literally beats down my success. And the old African proverb said it best: if there's no enemy within, the enemy without can do me no harm. And so I found it's easier to fight that enemy without. It's that enemy within, especially in our mind. And when we find out that 83% of our self-talk is negative, right? And our mental thoughts and self-talk is negative, and they say it usually takes 16 um, um, in our negativity in our mind,
Mhm.
which comes out of our mouth. It oftentimes will take 16 positive comments to offset one. So we're thinking these bullies in our brain are telling this, and now we're speaking it, and now it's reinforcing that. And so the massive breakthroughs occur when we start beating those bullies. So whether it's a self-doubt, whether it's low esteem, right? Who am I? I'm just a nobody. Well, of course, I'm a nobody that God and I helped make into a somebody, and now I'm telling everybody he can do the same and a whole lot more for anybody. Because I'm not a nobody. I'm a masterpiece. You're a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master. You're a product of the master. You're a priority of the master. But in our minds, when we're thinking this low, and we undervalue ourselves and who we are, and our own brain can do that. Sometimes the mental bully is past failures, right? And we're ready to set out to accomplish something. And that bully pops up. Wait a minute. You remember what happened last time? Like, who, like, come on now. There ain't no way it's not going to work. And now we start projecting the negativity on a new activity, and we recreate this. So that bully is beating up our success, is beating up our progress. And so the massive breakthroughs occur when we learn to beat the bullies on the brain. So whether it's second guessing yourself, and whether it's a doubt, as a matter of fact, I say unsuccessful people, they doubt their beliefs and then they believe their doubts.
Mm.
Successful people, we learn to doubt our doubts and then believe our beliefs. I mean, Napoleon Hill wrote a book. Think about it. The most read book outside of the Bible, the book that's produced more millionaires outside of the Bible, and it comes from one scripture. The scripture is, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. In Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. So then that means we need to not just beat beat the bullies on our brain, but replace those bullies. And so I close with this. I used to be literally addicted. I had a bad habit, but to me, it was beyond a bad habit. It was an addiction. And I was addicted to belittling myself.
Mm,
I was addicted to that. And now
mm.
change that for a new addiction, and that is believing and bettering myself. So, bullies, you got to go. I beat you behind. Come on now. It's breakthrough
All
time.
right. Dr. Breakthrough, breaking it down in the frontal cortex of his brain. Listen to that. Curtis Battle. Uh, I actually forgot because you are the voice of the show today, and I got to give you your dues. Let's for the people that just tuned in. Would you go ahead and just kind of with that smooth, sultry voice of yours, give our people that just tuned in the quote for the day?
Yes, the quote for the day is massive breakthroughs occur once we build once we beat the bullies in our brain. This comes from Dr. Breakthrough, Dr. Stan Harris.
And Dr. Stan Harris has a wonderful book. And before the end of the show, we'll tell you how to get his book. We'll let Stan tell you what it's about and so forth. So give you something to look forward to. But I'm going to go over and turn to my military brother over there. I grew up in a military family, and although that when I look at my window and I look at the flag, I see something different. I question the anthem that I pledge my allegiance to. Great song. If you look on our YouTube page, it's out there. But I do know that the sacrifices that were made in order for us to have the privilege, in order to have this conversation we have, there were many people that looked like us that gave a much greater sacrifice than the people that are dictating to us now. And I have to give my tip my hat to you, my brother, Christopher James. Before we get your quote, I just want to thank you for all that you have done, not only for you and your family, but for the others that you are not related to. And thank you, my brother. So, Christopher, with that said, all right, you heard the quote following Dr. Breakthrough. How does this quote land on you?
Grand Rising, everybody. And Doctor, that was a beautiful quote. And more so, I love your response to that quote, or your reflection on that quote. And then again, Kevin, my service was a pleasure. I enjoyed every minute of it. It was special to me because I didn't know all the people that I was serving, which made it even more of a gift. As to the quote, I don't know how many of you guys played Donkey Kong, but I played a lot of Donkey Kong. In fact, I've always said when people thank me for my service, I always say it was like locking a kid in an amusement in a video arcade with a fistful of quarters. And in Donkey Kong, the guy that's often overlooked was Freddy Fix-It. No matter what's broken, he could fix it. Okay, that was more or less my take on who I was, Freddy Fix-It. I don't care what it was. If it's broken, if it's just not working the way it should, I could fix it. And before the Navy ever gave me a multimeter and a set of screwdrivers, I was fixing things. But what I learned was when you go about fixing things, it takes a lot of, varying approaches. You got to talk to, some people. You got to dig open some equipment. You got to tear things apart. And a lot of times, external fixes can be difficult, but we get through them. We succeed. There are times when the fix isn't necessarily external; it's more of an internal fix. And for me, at that time, when I was in the service, an internal fix mainly talked about the way a particular thing was used. Not, that the thing itself broke, but the way we were using the thing was incorrect and didn't allow the equipment to operate correctly. When I applied that to life, and I'm going to be very dangerous here for a second. When I applied that to life, I looked at how people will walk in and say, "Let me fix this." let me change this person's whatever. And here's the dangerous part. When my wife married me, she had a long list of things she's going to fix for me. She's going to change for me. No, some were bad. I smoked, I drank. My God, every other word was a curse word. She objected to all that, and she said, "I'm going to fix that." It took about 50 years, but all those things are fixed now. The deal is this, though. What I learned from that is oftentimes the best fixes or the easiest, not take that back, it's not easy. The best fix is the fix you do internally. Okay. Where I, in the Navy, taught officers how to properly use equipment, that was my internal fix. And once that was done, they got the system to work the way it's supposed to. With people or with yourself, the internal fix is in your head. If I can fix me, then everything else will be better, will be fixed. And it took me a while to figure that out, and I incorrectly said that that was the easy fix. No, that's not easy. Dr. Brigger can tell you that that's not easy, but it is the most essential fix that you can make. If you can fix that internal fix, make that better, then the world becomes a lot brighter and a lot more efficient. And efficiency in this case simply means that you'll have a better life. My take on that is, what's that? There was a lyric in a song. Dr. Breakthrough, can I say ass on TV? Fix your ass.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fix your mind, your ass will follow. Okay, that's it. I'm done.
All right. It's amazing, and this is something we all should take note. Everyone's looking for perfection. All right. We all have things that internally someone wants to fix. None of us are perfect. Anytime you look at a perfect person, it's a person that does not own a mirror. All right. We all in a process or stages in our life to try to improve on the last line we wrote and the next sentence that's following. So, it doesn't make a difference if it takes you 50, 60 years in order to shift and make an adjustment, because what happens, time is only limited to the people that no longer have time. And so as long as you have time, you can adjust. All right. Just make sure that you make time to adjust. And so I'm just curious to see when we have a lady that we address as Mrs. Blue, how this quote will land on you. Mrs. Blue, how does this quote land on you?
Okay, so the quote is massive breakthrough occur when we beat the bullies in our brain. It seems like everything I wanted to say, Stan Harris said already. So I could just say just what he said. But for me, it's like I agree wholeheartedly. The noise in our head will prevent us from doing just about everything. But I have to remind myself that the things that are hysterical or historical make me hysterical. So it's usually something from the past, right? Something that someone may have said to me back in yesteryear. And we hold on to those things. We hold on to them and they kind of form us, in adulthood. Right. So if I'm being told the whole time, oh, you're dumb, you're never going to get it, nobody's ever going to want you, guess what? I'm somewhere in the back of my head, I'm holding on to that. Somewhere, it may not be upfront. I may appear to be, outspoken and, I may appear to be that way, but that's just the representative, right? But I always say it's the things that go bump in the night, right? Those things that keep us up at nighttime, that we never want to talk about, that we never really, really want to acknowledge. Those are the things that prevent us from being the best version of ourselves that we can possibly be. So I'm constantly waking up in the morning and affirming myself and saying those affirmations each and every morning, because I know those 16 things that I have to say to knock back that one thing. What are you talking about? How do you have a magazine? Like you don't have a degree in journalism. Like, what are you doing? But when the thought came to mind, I had to remind myself of who I was, right? Of who I was and who I belonged to, right? My saying is everything you want is on the other side of fear. But what's holding me back? What's holding me back is the noise inside of my own head. It's easy for me to say, oh, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. And, it's easy for me to say that and put the blame on someone else, right? But self-honesty, when you have that level of self-honesty with yourself, when you can say, I'm the only person that's preventing me from being the best version of myself that I could possibly be. I'm the only person that's doing that. And sometimes I don't want to acknowledge that, right? There's nothing worse than just being emotionally paralyzed, right?
Ooh.
Just emotionally paralyzed, where it's like, I'm stuck. And I don't know if anybody's ever been stuck, but being stuck sometimes in your life, wow. And just, where you want to go. You know the goal, you know the assignment, right? But to be in that position where you're just like, oh, okay, I'm stuck here, right? I learned long ago that there's nothing wrong with asking for help, right? Asking for help, like I can't do this by myself. Maybe I need to call a lifeline on the phone. Because sometimes that's all we need. We just need to be around like-minded people sometimes that'll just kind of like give us that push that we need, So that's my take on being stuck. I don't know how much time I had to have. I was trying to make it as quick as I possibly
No,
could,
take your
you know.
time. Take your
Take my
time.
time. And then
Uh,
plus I'm on grandma duty, guys.
I
So
see.
I'm
I
trying to,
love
I'm,
it.
I'm really trying to,
I love
I'm
it.
really trying to keep it together here. But
No.
but for me, that's what it's all about. Like during the pandemic, well, a lot of us took shots during the pandemic, right? And at that time, I used to work with and I still enjoy working with people who are starting to create their own businesses, right? During that time, some of the people were passing away, and while they were passing away, I said, there has to be something that I can do to stop this, right? Not from them from passing away, but to just, how can I help them with their businesses? And so that's when I created Connect to Blue E magazine. I'm not giving a plug. I just really need to explain the story in order
Go
for
ahead.
you to
Keep going.
understand
You
the
gave a
book.
plug.
I don't have a degree in journalism. I don't have any of those things. And it just came to me and I said, right, because the bullies came first, right? After the thought, the bullies came. Girl, you can't do that. What are you trying to do? You don't have a degree in journalism. Nobody's going to take you seriously. Like, how are you even going to start this? You don't even have to know how to start this. And I almost got stuck. Right? But then I had to go to the chief, right? And I said, Chief, what,
Hmm.
why? Not me. I said, just look, just do what I say, right? And I always envision when it comes to something new, I don't know if anybody's ever seen the Michael Jackson video for Billie Jean, right? And in that video, what he does is he's stepping on these tiles and the tiles are coming on, and that's what people thought, right? But my thought process is a little bit different, right? Instead of me saying, that I will step where the light goes, how I think is if you re-look at the video, wherever I step, the light comes on. Just re-watch the video. And then I was reminded, look, everything I touch is gonna be okay. If I got the thought, then what comes with the thought is everything else if I just sit still and pay attention, right? So the next morning when I woke up, I saw the whole concept in my head. I even saw the cover of the magazine and I said, oh, wow. Oh, wow. And sometimes when that happens, fear sets in again. The bullies come again, you know? So I'm going to it looks like somebody is trying to speak to, and I don't think he knows a lot about the bullies, because right now he is one of the bullies in my head. So,
Hey, we will give your grandson his due. If he wants to come and introduce himself, we'll take that. This is a family show.
it's a
But
family show.
I love the way that you looked at Michael Jackson's video, because everything we do in life is based on perspective and interpretation. And if you look at where you step, what you touch, the light is either going to go on or off. It's all based on your perception. And the way that you lit that up, that was fine. I mean, Naheem and I, we had a little bit of that. We touched the light yesterday in a dark room, and it lit up bright. I mean, I'm going to tell you, it wasn't no lunar eclipse. It was our cup running over, if you looked at it that way. But I have in my office on a pillow, and it says, uh, procrastination is the first door that opens to mediocrity. And that is a constant reminder for me not to have that conversation with the bully within. And that's something that um, our listeners, I mean, you think about this. You're getting this show for free. This is a masterclass. Most of the time, when you get a panel of highly educated people like we have on this show, that's not only giving you life lessons, but they're giving you the key to open that door. I'm going to say it the way my grandmother said that door. Um, I would say pay attention. Don't just sit there on the porch contemplating going out there and doing something stupid. Someone's trying to turn that light on for you. Now, if you're open, you'll step on that next square and see what happens. Take that chance. So I'm going to ask Curtis before I go to Gilda, give her interpretation, to give for our listeners that are sitting on the edge of the chair and go, wow, I didn't know this show even existed. How about that quote, Curtis?
Massive breakthroughs occur once we beat the bullies in our brain.
All right, drum roll, head it up your way. All right, Gilda, you're up.
Grand Rising, everyone. You are your biggest bully.
You are the devil within. You're the question.
You're the enemy. You're the enemy.
That's right. Within you, you are the question and the answer. It's one thing for those of you that are listening in for the first time. Gilda always has. I mean, you talk about a wordsmith. She goes directly to the point. Don't waste any time. I don't need to um, uh, defend, discuss, or make excuses. Let me just tell you. All right. Gilda, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for being that other side of that pillow for Mr. Christopher. And thank you for the 50 years of your patience and trying to adjust the station in Christopher's life.
No
All
problem.
right.
51 years.
It worked. It worked.
51 years. 51 years. They just celebrated an anniversary. And to our listeners, we'll talk about at the end of the show, if you stick around long enough, about Mrs. Blues magazine, Dr. Breakthrough's book. And it's not a shameless plug. I mean, we're all are doing great things in our community, in our own lives, and we share. We've got a lot of great, important people. If those of you that have not seen the holdover, down there in there, he should have had a much bigger part. His co-star got an Oscar for it. We got Naheem Garcia. He could talk about some of the things that he's doing in the community. And thank you for opening up the Boston for me yesterday and giving me a tour and making me feel welcome and embraced. So without that further ado, Naheem Garcia, the mayor of Boston.
Be careful with that. Somebody might actually take that seriously. No, this quote, as much as it gives you the opportunity and urges you to want to go into a sermon, because it's a rabbit hole. It's a lot going on with it, because the reality of life is that we self-sabotage. The bullies are self-sabotage, and we're always quick to do that. I mean, Gilda said it best. You are your enemy. You know, we think we're our own ally, but we're really our own enemy. You know, we're the first one to attack ourselves before anybody else, which allows other people to attack you once you attack yourself. You know, so the bottom line is the bully self-sabotaging, and do your very best to have good defense. Looking at Dr. Breakthrough and his martial arts, you know, and it's been told in the mosque that your first post, the first post is that you defend is your post. So before you go on and start defending somebody else, you better secure your seatbelt and make sure your seat's together. And then you can start beginning to save somebody else. But do not think that you can save yourself without acknowledging your enemy, you. So with that said, kick the bully out.
All right.
Get him out of here.
Get him out of it. We're having a lot of fun today, and I'm enjoying this and learning. For Larnez, all right, donning the new polo design hat and whatever. She's doing every thing, and she's gonna be heading up Good Trouble over in her neck of the woods. We'll talk about that today. My fraternity brother, the late John Lewis, said get in some good trouble. And my advice to everyone that is listening to this show, you know, it is time for us to stand up for each other. All right. We're all not decisive people. We're highly intelligent people. And it's amazing that our country has fallen someone that lacks all of the above. So let's go ahead and stand together and get a breakthrough and change some things for me and you. And the first change starts within you. I know this quote is going to bring out a highly motivated and powerful question. And it's going to ask you to question some of the things within yourself after you listen to Larnez. Larnez, how does this quote land on you? Now, why don't you give a short answer?
Well, blissful rising to all. Those bullies in your brain, those whispers, they say you're not ready, you don't belong, you're not enough. They're not lying. Like, I mean, they are lying, but it's you, right? Because you know they've always been lying. Don't get it twisted. The voices, they didn't come from anywhere, right? They're echoes, echoes of what your mama never said she was too tired for, echoes of what your teacher said when they didn't see your light, echoes of a system that was built on keeping you small, quiet, and compliant. But I came to tell you this: you are not here to live at the mercy of fear. You are here to live in abundance of your divine assignment. When you beat the bullies in your brain, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're breaking agreements with old energy. You're ending contracts with scarcity. You're telling every ancestral wound that tried to settle in your nervous system, you may have lived here, but you don't lead here. That's when the breakthrough comes in. Not a trickle, but a wave. Not a shift, but a split in atmosphere. That's the moment the universe says, now you remember who you are. So let me just offer you one truth. Your breakthrough is not in the hands of the world. It's in the silence after you rebuke the bully in your mind and choose your higher self instead. And that, beloved, is the real miracle. And that's how this hit me.
Boy, mic drop moment. Mic drop moment. Hey, Naheem, I don't know if you saw what I saw. You know, we were talking about yesterday, one of the characters in the screenplay that we're going to be producing called The Deal. There's a character that is going through, and all he does throughout the whole movie is recite the conversations going on in the bullies of his head, because he had an opportunity to change his life and success. He had reached the highest point, but because of chasing fast women and drugs, he is living his life of regret within himself. You know what I'm talking about, Naheem? All right. That one actor is written for a male role, but I just saw something different. Think about it, Naheem. All right. I just thought about something different. But anyway, that's kind of way my head works. That's when you live with a TBI. All of a sudden, you have those squirrel moments, or what I call aha moments, when you see talent for what it is, especially undiscovered talent. Um, and that's what happens sometimes with the bully inside of you. We have all been programmed to see life a different way, and we're afraid to step out of our comfort zones. We're afraid to make that decision because we're in fear of what conversation may come back to us. We're afraid to voice our opinion. We're afraid to show up as who we think we should show up, and we keep pretending to be someone that is not you. And that's, when this quote, when it dances around inside your head, and I know many people are listening to the many interpretations of this quote. If you don't see yourself in any of the conversation we have right now, you have still not addressed the bully inside you. And so we're coming to that time in the show when we are circling around from the beginning to the end. So the voice of our show is always, the last person. It's like the running of a relay. He is our Hussein Bolt. Instead of having him on the anchor leg, we're decided to go ahead and put on a great show and allow me to just kind of coast in on the end. So Curtis Battle, the voice. Give us the quote one more time and tell us how this quote lands on you.
Happy Sunday to all. The quote is, massive breakthroughs occur once we beat the bullies in our brain. So I will share this story with you about how I try to beat those bullies every day by starting my day with the right mindset. So I will get up. I have now 3 dogs. We just had a new puppy arrive this week. So if you hear screaming in the background, that might be from that little person who wants to break out of their crate early in the day. But it's about, I first turn off all the notifications of the outside world that I can't do anything about. So I don't get updates from CNN and ABC or anybody else, whether you're a Fox News or whatever. I don't hear that. So sometimes there are bad things that occur that I have no knowledge about. But again, I was not able to do anything about them in the first place. I go into the day, I get my coffee, I feed the dogs, but it's all about how do I try to do a little meditation, and that sets me up for the day. So I start by recognizing what is really on my head. And a lot of times the thing that is the bully that I have to overcome and I work really hard at is the fear. Sometimes it is the fear of failure and that if I do this, it's going to go that. But sometimes it's the fear of success. Boy, if I do this, it's going to help all these people. I may become I'll have more resources to be able to do other things. It's not about money and what I am going to have as money, but it's how do I spread it to the community? How do I make a difference in the broader world of people that I encounter? How do I take those positive thoughts that I have and get to the next level? So all the speakers this morning, from Dr. Breakthrough through Miss Blue and the grandchildren, our military couple, Naheem, and has all touched on the same thing. We have got to keep control of our own mind. You cannot listen to all those people who are naysayers outside that are not going through what you're going through. And you're going through enough. Even just by yourself, you're going through enough. So what I say to our audience is you have the ability to be anything you want to be amazing, to take on the world, to make differences, to have medical breakthroughs. Whatever it is that you might be able to dream up, you can do. You just have to get out of your own way. And that's how it landed on me.
And I love the many interpretations, both professional and personal, all my co-hosts on this show. And I will thank you and everyone else that has shown up every single week in order to make the show. The show is what it is. And Dr. Breakthrough, wonderful quote, massive, massive breakthrough. And they say massive breakthroughs occur when you beat the bully in your brain. For me, it speaks to the significance of you as a person, as a professional, and your progress. It often hinders the negative self-talk that we have, meaning, you say to yourself, all that I can't do, I won't. Why is this happening to me? Or why not me? The negative self-talk within inside your head limits your beliefs of the opportunities that are presented to you. It's hard for you, it makes it hard for you to overcome the internal obstacles that you can unlock your own potential. But for some reason, we walk around and we hold a set of keys, but we never put the key into that lock because we're afraid of what's going to happen when we turn. The bully in your brain, I want you to understand, is your own self critic. It is that voice that is always holding you down, that voice that stops you from manifesting those great thoughts to create a great book entitled it The Blue Magazine. It inhibits you to having yourself read a monologue that's 3 pages long when you are one of the world's greatest actors that anyone has ever seen. It is it inhibits you or hinders you from being that one kid that gets tarred and feathered and living your life being beaten without someone ever throwing a punch. And it is that little conversation in your head that says, let me be silent, Gilda, instead of speaking the words from my heart. The real question in this quote is not how to beat the bully inside. It's the real question is how can you pinpoint the thoughts that's coming from you? How to overcome that fear that is guiding you through or leaving you at that crossway of life that's based on assumptions and past experience rather than the facts that you have control over you. You have the power to choose how you respond to every single thought, both positive self-talk or negative. The affirmations that help you shift your mindset to help you build up your self-esteem. You know, my grandfather told me, he said, there's 4 things basically in your life that I can tell you that will change your life. And when he broke these down, he says, discuss. He says, when you get to a point in life, you're so tired of being kicked in the face, you cover up and you stop. He says, the next point in your life is that you've got to make a decision that whatever has brought you to that point, you're so disgusted with yourself that you can't look at yourself, don't want to have that conversation. You make a decision. And this is the bully, that you're no longer going to be controlled by the events or the people that are in your life. And then he says, sit down, take a good look, look up in the sky. There is no roadmap, there is no boundaries or whatever. It is nothing but blue sky and cloud. He says, think about all the things you desire, all the things that you want. He said, go out and chase your dreams. And he said, the last thing, he said, today is yesterday's tomorrow. He says, let go of every single thing that happened to you yesterday, every insult, you've been beaten, been homeless or whatever. And he says, let go of those issues and live your best version of your life. He said, it's because how you show up now is how you show up for the rest of your life. So this is the way the quote landed on me. I want to thank all of my wonderful friends that I call family. And it's amazing. The people that you invite in your life that become your family oftentimes treat you better than the family that you share blood with. And I am so lucky that I got brothers and sisters that love me, that protect me, that look out for me, that stand up for me, and that hold me at check when I need to. All my friends are honest. So I want to thank you, Dr. Breakthrough, for bringing this quote. We'll talk about your book at the end of the show. And I want to thank all of our listeners. And I'm going to tell you, if you had liked what you've heard on this show, go to RMK Productions and Network on our YouTube page and like and subscribe, give your comments. Probably the only show that allows you, our listeners, to be a guest on the show. How many times have you ever went to a concert and go, hey, I would love to go out there and sing that song with, the Stylistics or someone like that? Or, oh, I can get up on stage and speak with Larnez. and talk about my life experiences or so forth, or I would love to be the voice on a show like Motivational Sundays with Kevin. We allow you to have that. We just ask you to bring in something positive on there. We don't do a lot of drama on this, even though our world right now would open that door, but we ain't got time for that today. And, my grandfather always said, and I want you to remember this, and matter of fact, write it down. When you get to a point in life that you can help someone else out, he said it's your duty to do so. He said, reach one, teach one. And with that said, we what?
We
Fade to black.
fade to black.